Hello, I'm doing a follow-up video. For some time now I've carried a knife made of CPM Rex121 as my everyday carry type blade. Just around the home because it is in a pocket sheath and it's obviously a fixed blade, and Australia is not the kind of place where you can openly pocket carry a fixed blade knife without getting someone a bit upset. Unfortunately that is the case. I don't like it, but it is what it is. So this knife is a Creeley Blades Mako in CPM Rex121. This is an interesting steel because it is probably one of the more complex elementally, has lots of carbide formers apart from carbon, and it is kind of like like a lot of the recipes of the really fancy steels rolled into one almost. So some steels are high in tungsten, some steels are high in vanadium, some steels are really high cobalt steels. This is high in all of them. This is just pushing everything in there. It's crammed in there, ready to burst, you could say. And yeah, it is very, very interesting to see the data sheet of it. I'll just put it up here and I'll be putting some comparisons as well, just for your interest, because it is a very interesting steel. Some even say if they were to do too much more to it, it might not even be classified as a steel anymore. That's probably a bit of really nerdy drama, but yeah, I can sort of see that. If the main alloying elements aren't iron and carbon anymore, if you get that much other shit in there, then yeah, might not be a steel. Anyway, interesting because there aren't many knives of this. I am aware that Spyderco may have tried this some time ago, but sort of gone, not worth it. It's fucked. It's it's using too much of our machines. Because as with any steel that's very, very sort of high tech and cuts for a long, long time, it therefore needs more robust abrasives at the factory to shape it into this kind of shape. So I can see it may never be adopted as a must-have steel, at least not at a reasonable price point. So yeah, fascinating stuff. And obviously I did my rope cut test with it about 3 weeks or so ago, and since then I've just been carrying it every day, using it for all the stuff, like the things, like breaking down the boxes, cutting up little bits of food even, like when I can't be bothered getting one of these guys out and then having to dishwash it. Cutting up food and wiping it down, cutting up like freezer bags. I opened so many freezer bags, cat food bags, cat litter bags, dog food bags, all the stuff that you use a knife or a non-knife person would use a pair of scissors for around the home. I've been using this knife for. Quick review on the knife, it's excellent. This could be my favorite little fixed blade. It's at least tied with the JX6. The JX6 might be a little bit more of a versatile knife to maybe take hunting with you and stuff like that as well, more to do with the material choices than anything. But they're not too dissimilar from each other. They've got sort of smooth, sculpted, hand-filling handles. And yeah, they're both using pretty impressive steels. So that's probably my other one. The LT Wright Patriot is a good one as well. It's just in D2. The handle's a little bit too thin for my liking, but there you go. So it's a very, very good knife. And I will probably do an in-depth review on this one and its brother once I've carried the Crewwear brother that I also have for a while. But anyway, we're talking about the steel today and how Rex121 has done for all the tasks, all the jobs. I look at steels pretty simply. There is way more, there's a lot of folks who will say I'm being oversimplistic, but the way I look at steels is edge retention, corrosion resistance, ease of resharpening, and toughness. So toughness, I probably lump in a couple of correct terms for edge retention, abrasion resistance, or sharpening, sharpenability. They're probably all very similar as well, or very, those are the names that I use, alright? So just to help me understand, I'm not a metallurgist. I'm not a knife maker either. But, so, I guess I'll go through each of those attributes and speak about how it does. Let's start with edge retention, I guess. The highest retention rate I've seen in a cutting material so far. There may be some tungsten carbide things that you can get that last longer than this, maybe, in certain circumstances. Maybe Rockstead's crazy ZDP with its super convex edge would last longer. On the rope test, I don't know. But from what I've had, this is definitely by far, you notice it more than you notice Maximet when I carried and used Maximet for a test period as well. You notice it more than Maximet that it is really sticking around, that edge is really sticking around, and as long as you don't get it to the point where it needs to be stone sharpened, you can keep this under control with a strop, which is really, really good news. So that increases the edge retention as well. But I haven't had to touch it in 3 weeks. For the whole time since I got it nice and sharp again on a strop after the edge test, I haven't had to touch it since, and it is still super duper sharp. It is wonderful. It's noticeably, you know, some I probably couldn't tell. If you gave, to be frank, if you gave me an XHP knife and an S35 VM knife and said, hey, use these for a month each and see which lasts longer, I think by the end I'd be like, oh, you know, they'll both. This is like clearly different. It's clearly further. Of interest, I did approach a company that makes tungsten carbide knives, and they say that they are the longest lasting. Someone put me onto them in the Facebook, and I was like, oh yeah, I'd get one of those. But first I sent them a message on the Facebook, which they read, but never responded to. And I wasn't asking for a free one. I was literally like, hey man, I do this cut test. Here's a link to it. Would your steel be like, well, not your steel, would your material, would your substance be of any value testing here? Because is the rope the wrong stuff that your stuff's made to cut? That's the thing. A bit of a question. More of a, hey, would it be wasting my time to buy one of your knives and do a rope cut test on it? Is it just not quite right for it? Because these knives were the cheapest possible ones, like 300 euros. And I would have bought one if they'd just responded and said, oh yeah, this would be fine. See how much rope it cuts. That's really interesting. No response. It was on scene though. You know it's on scene? Yeah, it was on scene, and there's still... So I didn't buy one. So maybe one day, you never know. So yeah, for edge retention, it's a 10 out of 10. Just insane, and noticeably insane. Not just insane when you do your tests and like, this is insane. It's just like, holy shit, this is still like, you know, you're still accidentally slicing like the tip of your finger off, or, you know, really nicking yourself by accident when you're just a little bit slack, or yeah, it's properly sharp still. So 10 out of 10 for the edge retention. Next I'll do corrosion resistance, and this is where the knife has surprised me the most. I'll show it side by side with my Manix Maximet, and albeit they are different finishes. Stone washing a knife opens the pores up massively. I know pores is the wrong word. Whatever, it opens the surface up to rust a little bit easier and patina. Maximet has patinaed like crazy. Just you can see the part where I open the knife, like pulling on the spine or pushing the spine, like pushing it closed. It's just patinaing like from the oils in my skin. This has not yet. Not even on the spine, which has always got me fiddling with it or playing with it or touching it in some way. The only part that might have is right on this very, very edge here. It just seems like it might be slightly darker, like more lead colored, but no rust, no weirdness whatsoever. It's not a stainless steel. I'm obviously wiping it off after I'm using it. This is a cherished knife for me. I'm not going to abuse this one. I'm probably not going to saltwater test it. It's just one of those things. I'm just going to see how it goes. And yeah, it's been excellent for its rust resistance. For as long as you take care of it, it has been. And I dare say if you paid, you know, $300 for a knife this size, you're going to take care of it. So don't worry if you get this knife and it is just, you think, oh, I hear it's just going to shrivel away to black. It hasn't. You see? It just hasn't. And I've done the basics, but I haven't been bathing it in, you know, frog lube or anything like that. It's just done really well. It might be the finish. It hasn't got a polished finish, but it's a healthy satin finish with just the grind lines on it from the belt. Like it's impressive. Like the corrosion resistance, I'm going to put it at, you know, you have to take care of it still, so it's not like LC200N or like S35VN where you can kind of neglect it. You have to take care of it still, but what I thought was going to be a 1, I'm easily going to say it's a 5 out of 10. It's just average. It's just average, which is impressive for this stuff. Very, very cool. For its toughness. So, this can cut wire, this can cut cardboard, and it can hit like the hard parts of the cardboard that have like the tape and all the shit bound up together in it, and the edge is fine. It can do wood carving, and it is fine. So for everyday carry, I have no issues with the toughness whatsoever. For everyday carry, like for misuse, yeah, I could probably snap the tip off by putting it in my chopping board and going bing for sure. But for everyday carry, oh, I'm still a bit sick. For everyday carry, yeah man, it is tough enough. Like, yeah, it's like how VG10 will chip when you use it, you hit your Falcon even into a rock. And you know, you're going to be like, oh, I wish that didn't happen. Yeah, well, that's why you would have, maybe you should have got 3V, but you didn't, you got VG10 to save some cash. You know, it is what it is. This is kind of the same thing. Yeah, you got the Rex121 for the crazy edge retention. Oh, well, and it's kind of, it's chipped out on you because you like hit a nail in some wood. Well, yeah, sorry man, but you know, you pay the edge retention price, you know. So for toughness, I just haven't noticed any toughness problems with it at all. Not for the stuff that you would just use it for thoughtlessly, like, oh yeah, I'll put my knife in that, I'll cut this, I'll cut that, I'll cut that. No problems. Like, even, I guess, like, I cut open a bag of cat litter from time to time. From the bottom, I just hold it above the litter tray and just go, and it gets covered in like the rocky little cat litters, and it's absolutely fine. It's still nicking me when I lean my finger into it. Toughness, I'm not going to say it's like tough like 3D, but the toughness is at least a 5. It's got to be, it's just your average toughness. It's, I don't know, it just does not seem brittle to me at all. It is just, I mean, don't cut, well, I did cut wires with it, and there was like 3 tri-strand copper wire, which I know it's just copper, but it's, I don't know, I wouldn't be scared to just use this for your daily carrier. Probably not a woodcraft or a bushcraft knife, you know, you might get a weird bit of wood that twists it, whatever, but it did like wood carving, no problems, stayed its edge, didn't chip out, like, it's not delicate. It's got a, as long as you keep your bevel generous, 17 degrees is pretty generous, and it's still pretty sharp. Toughness, it's gotta be, I've got to say it's just average toughness. It's not brilliant toughness, because you're right, I'm not confident to go and batten onto a, you know, kitchen bench top with it, for sure. But, you know, I've cut into lots of chopping boards with it, and it's fine. I cut the rope like, you know, 950 times with it, and it was fine. Like, it's not brittle. That's what I don't think it is anyway. Next up is sharpenability. And yes, for sharpenability, this knife can fuck off. It is incredibly hard to sharpen. Like, and it is, you can sharpen it. It's not like you won't be doing it for, you know, you won't literally be like, I can't sharpen, there's none of my things working. Your things will work, but you just have to go for 3 times longer. That is what my average was for resharpening. So I've resharpened it twice now, with initial sharpening and then a second sharpening. And it's a pain in the fucking ass. It really is. It just takes, you know, it takes long, but then it doesn't take skill. It just takes patience. Like, it just, and like anything, you spend 3 times longer sharpening, and I would say it's going to hold its edge for probably 5 times longer than your S30V knife. So I don't know. Sharpens for, yeah, because that's, say, the baseline. Probably about twice as long as CPM 110V and Maximet, which are probably the next in line of quite difficult to sharpen steels. And this is me, a rando, not a Michael Christie cool fucking board you know, stone sharpener. I don't have that level of skill, but for a rando dude, which is, hey, let's break character here. You're probably just a rando dude like me, or rando lady like me too, who kind of fumble your way through it. If you need to sharpen a knife, that's you and me, right? You'll be okay. Just be patient and just keep doing the same shit, and just don't stop too early, because that's what I did. The first time I sharpened it, I stopped too early, and I was like, oh shit, it's not, this isn't sharpening. My machine doesn't sharpen. This is the diamond. It's immune to the diamond plates. It wasn't. It just took more of them. Like, it took more passes. So that's all it was. Don't stress. Just keep going. That's the only advice really. But it's a 1 out of 10 to sharpen, because it just takes so long. Like, it's not. It doesn't even have a particularly stubborn. The micro bevel. No, sorry. The burr was a little bit stubborn, but it was nothing that a proper. Yeah, just doing it the proper way, which was like, once I'd got to like that point, just one side, rotating every single pass of the stone, and eventually it lined up and it did it, and it was sharp, and you could feel it was sharp, and it was cutting things, and it wasn't steering off, and it wasn't catching. So it was fine in the end. It's back to me in the end. You kept everything inside. Yes. Yes, I fought so hard. I tried so long. But in the end, it actually got quite sharp, so it was good. But yeah, 1 out of 10 for sharpening, because it is literally the longest I've ever had to spend to get an edge on a very, very short knife blade. So there you go. But some options for you are things that I don't have that would have made it easier. A KME system with the Beast diamond sharpener, just to get that initial profile on. A black Tormek wheel, which frustratingly they don't make for my size of Tormek, but Gary actually uses the black wheel to put his edges on, especially on the Kickstarter model, he'll be doing that, so that'll do it too. But yeah, just heavy diamond abrasives. I have our coarse Lansky diamond stone, which in the scheme of things would be like a medium of anything else. So I had coarse, medium and fine Lanskys. I should have got the extra coarse, and I probably will if I don't get another sharpening system in the meantime, but that is that. So yeah, it was an ordeal to get it sharp, but it is, once it's there, it's there. So that's really the trade-off you make. Some people are like, oh hey, I just want 420HC, and I'm happy to sharpen it once a week. Some people are like, oh, I can sharpen, but I'll just get this knife and sharpen it twice a year. So is either of those wrong? Look at Nero Knives. He strops VG10 like every 100 cuts or so, and really, as long as you've got a strop with you, your VG10 will last you as long as your S110V. You just strop it back. Whereas the S110V, once it's kind of gone, it's kind of gone. That's what his research shows anyway, so it's interesting. I'm not saying that the longer lasting edge is a better thing. It's just, I like it. Frankly, I like the technology behind it. I like having, might like having a car that you know can do 220 on a dime, but you never do anyway. But you like to know you can, and it's just me and steel. Steel is the thing about knives that I have sort of fallen into. Some people are into flipping actions. Some people are into super high level fit and finishes. Some people are into prying car doors open with them, whatever. Follow your heart, man. Follow your heart. But if you do follow your heart to this knife, just get a couple of better sharpening stones. That's all I'd say. Okay. So overall, this little monologue about Rex121 as a EDC steel, I wouldn't be scared. I would come prepared. If you were to see Spyderco make one of these in the next couple of years, which I wouldn't be surprised. They must have the same level of steel boner that I have. They must, because that is frankly why I love Spyderco the most out of all the knives. Yeah, they're ugly. Like, I don't think they're the best looking knives in the world. I like their ergonomics, tick, but I like that they try all the different steels. Like, no other company does that. Most companies have their 3 standards. Cold Steel has their CTS BD1, CTS XHP, and their AUS8, oh yeah, and their 4116. These are changing now. Zero tolerance. I think they're going all pretty much now to 204p. They got some LMAX and some S35VN in there somewhere. Kaiser, pretty much all S35VN. I think they're moving up to some M390. See, whereas Spyderco are like, sprint running this, sprint running that. You know, this year we'll make paramilitaries out of this, and then we'll always have it as 110V as an option in all of our Americans. Like, so cool. That's why I like them so much. So if you see a Spyderco wearing this, you see a mule team in it, don't be scared. It'll be an experience, and it'll be like, you'll just have that satisfaction of, yeah, they've got the best one for now. Because I think it is. I would say this is probably the best one for now in terms of the edge retaining, and it is an absolutely fine one for actually using, which is a pleasant surprise. It's a surprise for me, it really was. I was after something that would kill in my rope cut test, and I've actually got something that does really, really well in daily life. So there you go. Alright guys, we'll catch you in the next one. Some more actiony videos once I've got the sand for it again. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this little debrief about Rex121. And I'm going to do the same with Crewway now, and see what the differences are. So yes, I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye, my friends.